So recently I've been chopping a lot of firewood because it's been quite cold. And while pulling a lot of logs out of the dirt, I found a lot of little critters that give me a lot of artistic inspiration. Like this guy. It's a little skink. Australia has seemingly hundreds of different types of skinks, and I was looking for this exact species somewhere, and I couldn't find it. It might be some kind of eastern garden skink. I think that's an amalgam of all different names I've come across. Cute little guy. I'm amazed how a reptile so small can possibly survive at all. I mean, it must have so little thermal mass that as soon as it gets out of the sun, it must just stop, shouldn't it? I don't know. I keep on imagining reptiles are like solar powered or something. Their common sunbathing behaviour has led me to believe that, but of course they eat food as well, so I just don't know how these little guys thermally regulate themselves. It did enjoy the heat off my hand though. It didn't want to leave. It said, no, this is nice. I'll be hanging around here. And then under another log, I found some slaters stuck between the log and the moist earth. Now slaters are really cool. They've got all these little segments about them, and apparently each leg has its own segment. It looks like a modular kind of insect. But then when I looked them up, I discovered that it's not technically an insect, it's actually a crustacean, which was a bit strange. But then, come to think of it, it does look like something that belongs on the sea floor, like a lobster or a prawn. Very interesting. One of the few crustaceans which actually permanently live on the land. Another name that slaters are commonly known as is a pill bug, because they have this really cool ability to roll up in a little sphere, like a armadillo or something. And watching them slowly open up is pretty cool as well, because you see this great big massive legs in there. Spaghetti wiggling around. If spaghetti could wiggle around, that's what it would look like. If the spaghetti was also armor plated as well. If you had armor plated wiggling spaghetti in a cramped space, that's what it would look like. And then I also found this great big reddish looking beetle. Some kind of wood eating beetle. I know it's a wood eating beetle because its little mouthpieces were full of wood. And it also has this incredible sheen to it. It's like enamel paint or something. I mean, if I had a sports car and I got a paint job on my sports car that was as good as this beetle's shell, I'd be really happy. It also has all these really cool parallel lines on the back of its shell. I mean, the central segment is perfectly polished and line free, but the shell on the back, on the boot, I guess, has all these cool lines on it. You know what I think this beetle would look really good as? A vacuum cleaner. Like a vacuum cleaner from the 40s or something, you know? I think that's what it reminds me of. One of those really old style, organic looking household appliance designs. It looks streamlined, like that old art style, you know? Yes, the Beetle has that streamlined look about it. I still think it would make a great looking vacuum cleaner though. Dyson, get on it. Come on, bring back that streamlined look. I'm sick of looking at these plastic buckets with dirt spinning around in them. Anyway, the first drawing I was inspired to do by observing all these little creatures, I did with the Pentel pocket brush pen, which is a pen well known for its line width variability and also its uncontrollability. I'm not saying it's impossible to control, but it just requires a little bit more skill than what I have. It's a very versatile brush pen, but with great power, needs also to be coupled with great skills so you can use it, you know? And I'm not quite there. I'm getting there, getting close. When I do get there, I will make a video about how to use one correctly. So I just started drawing with it on a blank piece of paper as I usually do, without any rough sketches. I usually draw like that when I'm feeling a bit impatient and I just want to make something as quickly as possible. You know, I like to live on the edge. Plus it also helps me strengthen my pre-visualization skills. Because I've noticed when I'm drawing with a pencil and I have an eraser handy, that part of my brain that has to pre-visualize things before I draw them does not have to work as hard. Because I can just generate a bit of noise with my hand and then erase the bits I don't want to see. And you could just keep on cycling through that process until you have a solid image. But doing it like this, there is no room for mistakes. Well, actually there is room for mistakes, but you have to just learn how to hide them. You have to make sure that you don't let anyone else know what you were actually planning to draw. Then you can give off the illusion that you haven't made any mistakes. That's the secret. See, in this first piece, I tried to draw a second lizard in the top right-hand corner, but it didn't go too well. So I tried to just cover it over with branches and whatever. Hopefully no one will notice. unless I tell them, which I just did. Dear. And then I drew another piece without any rough sketching as well, but this time I used the Tombow Food No Souk brush pen, which isn't technically a brush pen, even though they call it a brush pen, or most people call it a brush pen. It's one of those ultra flexible rubbery marker tips, which almost feels like a brush, but it has a lot more firmness to it. So it's very easy to control compared to the Pentel brush pen. Did I also mention I found some worms also under there? So I was also inspired to draw some worms. There you go. So now we've got skinks, slaters, a giant wood beetle, and worms. So, okay, 4 creatures of inspiration in this art piece. Yes, I'm sometimes surprised what actually inspires me to draw, especially from nature. Because I've seen some incredible, vast, sweeping scenery, canyons, rivers, but I'm not actually inspired to draw them as much. Maybe I just find them a bit overwhelming. Like I don't trust myself that I have the skill to capture them fully. And maybe another reason is that it's hard to empathise with a landscape. Unlike that cute little lizard who has a pair of eyes that I can look into and wonder what he's thinking. Heat, give me heat. I am cold. Slater, delicious. Bit crunchy though. Worm, slimy. Cold, damp. Where is the sun? Where has it gone? It will come out again. Okay, see ya. Bye.